My name is Wayne and welcome back to the channel. Today is a really special day for the channel and I cannot wait to show you guys what we have planned for the Cuda. Because I know there's been lots of questions and lots of comments. People have been asking what kind of wheels and tires you're going to put on the car. Well, today is the day that we're going to put the new wheels and tires on the Cuda. So let's go. That's right, today's the day I'm going to reveal what kind of wheels and tires we're going to put on the Cuda. If you've been following the channel along for a while, you know that I've been upgrading the suspension, the brakes. You know, the intent is to get the car to handle, drive, and brake the best that it can, not like a car from 1970. But what I wanted to do with the wheels and tires, though, is to keep a classic design, something that I think is going to be timeless, which is not so easy to do when you put the big brakes on the car like I did. So I'm going with 18-inch wheels and tires for a few reasons. One of them is you have a lot of tire choices. Now, one thing I really like about the 18-inch wheels and tires is you can really fill out the wheel well. And plus, you can still get a decent sidewall height so you don't have a really thin sidewall tire. Now, if this car was just going to be built for autocross or road racing, which it's not, then yeah, I would want probably like a 30 series profile, but that's not what I want with this car. I want more meat on it so it doesn't look like I have little rubber bands on the tires or the wheels. I want a decent sidewall, and plus I want a decent diameter wheel and tire. So we're going with 18s, so take a look. So there they are. Check these things out. These are the ET Mag LT3s. Now these are designed to look like the wheels they used in Trans Am racing in the 70s, you know, the old mini lights. But these are in a modern size. That's what's going to make these things so great, and that's what I love about them. So I have, you know, a nice modern tire, 18 inches, a lot of options in the 18-inch tire sizes, plus a decent sized tire and sidewall height. We'll get into that in a little bit, but I just want to show you these things. I cannot wait. I still have to install the center cap on the fronts. These are the fronts, these are the rears, obviously. Going in with a staggered set. They're not the same size. I won't be able to rotate them, but that's okay. I wanted more rubber in the back, wider and taller. So let's get into the details of the tire and wheel specs. We'll start with the tires first. These are the Falcon Azeni, I believe is how it's pronounced, and it's the RT 660. And it is a new tire, relatively new, and it replaced their old 615. And I actually used to use the 615 a few years back in another car that I used to autocross and did some road racing with. And really popular tire. It's a 200 tread wear, so it meets a lot of class regulations where you need a 200 tread wear tire. But it's, you know, extreme performance, summer tire, you know, exceptional handling and traction in the dry. Okay in the rain, but it's an extreme performance summer tire. And that's what I went with, because obviously if you've been following the build, that's really kind of like what I'm looking for with the car. And I want, you know, great braking, great handling. And again, you might say, oh, those are going to be terrible for drag racing. Well, again, I'm not building the car to be a drag car. I'm not saying I won't ever take it, but it's not the main intent. And the sizes are 275, 35, 18 in the front. Now that's a fairly common size, let me say, for people who want to run an aggressive big tire. It has been done. And actually, one of the cars I was, you know, kind of modeled my build sort of after is the Hotchkiss Challenger, and they run the 275, 35, 18 on the front of their car. And like I said, a few other people do as well. Now in the rear, again, I want something bigger, and these are going to be 295, 40, 18. So a little wider and a bigger sidewall, so it's going to have a nice stance and it's going to fill up the wheel well. And these are about 27 inches tall, so it's not going to kill my cruising RPM. It's not going to hurt that at all, and it's still going to handle exceptionally well even with a little bit bigger sidewall, but it's really what I wanted. And maybe you're wondering, why didn't I go with a 40 in the front? Well, trying to find a 40 in a 275 and an 18 is really difficult, almost impossible, really. And also, you have to run into clearance issues because there's more room in the back wheel well for a taller tire than a taller tire in the front. And also, when it comes to the handling,
you have a lot of room for improvement with a shorter sidewall in the front because you're gonna have less sidewall deflection if you're gonna go that far in that extreme. So there's a few reasons why traditionally and in these cars I'm gonna run a shorter sidewall. So those are the tire specs for the car. Now let's get into the wheel specifications. A common wheel size I'm running something like this would be a 9-inch front and a 10-inch rear. But the tire is wider than the wheel, right? So the tire is going to be kind of almost squeezed onto a smaller wheel. And what's going to happen is you're not going to have a really flat cross section of your tire. It's going to be almost exaggerated, but slightly domed and raised, your contact patch. So you'll get a better contact patch by putting the tire on a wheel that's close to the actual size of your tire. So you'll have a flatter contact patch and you're going to have better traction, better performance. Again, that's an extreme case. If you're just trying to, more of just a street car that you're not that concerned about, it's a lot easier to run a 9 and 10-inch wheel. But the fronts I'm running a 9.5, and the back spacing is 5.25. So why did I choose that? A common size is the 18x9 with 5 inches of back spacing. So I went with an extra ½ inch of wheel width, and to accommodate for that, to evenly split that extra width, I went with 5.25 inches of back spacing. And we'll see how that fits in the car, but it fits okay. It fits really good, actually, I should say, and we'll get into more of that later. Now the rears are 18x11. Now I know people who have ran this size in the back, and it's tight, especially on a Cuda. Let me say that first and foremost. The one thing that a Challenger really has an advantage over on a Cuda is that it's a wider car. There's more room in the wheel wells, front and back, than a Cuda has. But after measuring, I was confident that I could get the 11-inch wheel in the back. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to run a bigger back spacing because, again, I have the B-body rear axle and the offset shackles, and after measuring, I wanted to run a little more back spacing because if I needed to, I could always run an 1/8, maybe a 1/4 inch spacer if I had to, but I don't think I'm going to have to. Because if you go like about 5.5 inch back spacing, you put them on there and then they stick out too much, especially on a Cuda, you can't do anything about it. You're pretty much starting over and getting new wheels. You can't draw them in very easily, right? Like you can with a spacer if you need to space them out anymore. So again, these are 18x11. And if you're wondering what a common size is, 18x10 with a 5.5 inch back spacing with the B-body rear axle and offset shackles is a proven combination. So I went a little more aggressive, took my measurements though, and that's the wheel and tire specs we have. And let's get them on now. What do you say?
Man, does it look awesome. The back is sitting nice. The front, well, yeah, that's way too low. We're gonna raise that up a bit. And the other side's even lower, but man, I love the look of those wheels on the car. So awesome. So let's put a pause on it real quick. I'm gonna jack up the front end and crank up those torsion bars a bit and try to get this thing set a little better. Alright, so the back end is looking good after a bunch of adjustments. Have the front end pretty much where I think I want it. I mean, again, if this was a road race car strictly, I would take it a little lower, but man, I'm a little afraid of ground clearance issues. But I think it looks great. The top of the fender, or I should say the bottom of the fender wheel well is right at the top of the tire. And it was just way too low before, but it's sitting really good and it's even side to side. Man, the tires are tucked up real nice. It looks mean. Awesome. Give me a little shot of like the, I mean, there's good clearance right there. I mean, no problem at all. The back is good. I mean, we're good here too. But what I did find is it's pretty close to and the leaf spring right up here. It's hard to show you, but I've got about 1/4 of an inch, and I think I'm gonna get maybe an 1/8 inch wheel spacer or another 1/4 inch wheel spacer and add those, because I have enough room to kick the tires outboard a little bit. And I think I'm going to do that just for a little bit of reassurance. I mean, granted, with these tires, there's going to be very little sidewall deflection, especially at the middle of the tire, you know, where it's closest. That's the only close spot in the back, is the rear of the leaf spring. So I think I'll probably kick these out maybe a hair, 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch. And it's looking really nice and even, like I said, from side to side. Over to the driver's side now. Yeah, again, looks great. We have good caliper clearance. I mean, that was the cool thing about the bare brakes. You can see right there we have a good 1/8 of an inch, and that's the closest spot everywhere else. It's pretty good and clear even to the spokes of the wheels. Looks nice. In the back as well. And that was a neat thing, like I was saying about the bare brakes, is they have those templates you can use to check for wheel clearance. And that worked out awesome, no issues. So I think we are ready to fire this thing up and pull it out into the driveway and do a little brake systems check. So first impressions, just going in and out of the driveway. The brakes will need some attention. The first time you press the brake pedal, you know it's not great braking power. So after that, it's a lot better, but something's got to be going on there. So I'm going to have to look at that. So I have a few more projects lined up, and that's what's going to be coming in the near future. So one more look at the wheels and tires. And that means we have to check one more thing off the list, and that's putting the wheels and tires on, which is checking the wheel clearance. So we're going to mark that off the list. And now the list is getting smaller, so that's a good sign. Well, thanks again for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. And again, let me know in the comments below what you think about the wheels and tires I decided to put on the car. And if you liked the video, don't forget the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and turn on the bell notification. You'll be notified each and every time I upload a new video. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.